This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here. And get us started here, going through the agenda. So I'll do the meeting notice first. Stratford High School Renovations Subcommittee, Building Needs Committee of the Stratford Town Council will conduct a regularly scheduled meeting on Tuesday, June 8th via GoToMeeting online. Members of the public can listen to the meeting in real time by calling in and dialing in the access code. Now do the call to order at 5:35 and go through the roll call first of the subcommittee members. So obviously, I'm here. Mr. Petroselli.
He's muted.
Oh, okay. He's there. I see him there on the screen. Move on to Bob Shalou.
Here.
Jack Della Piano.
Here.
Bob DiLorenzo.
Here.
Rich Fredette.
Present.
Susan Lancet sent in an email saying that she will not be able to join us. Ken Poisson.
Here.
Janet Robinson. Dan Semth.
He's online now and he might be muted.
Okay. I'll just keep moving forward then. I'm now going to go on to the town representatives and consultants roll call. We heard from Mayor Hoydick before saying that she was not going to be available for this evening's meeting. John Casey. Rich Ruggiero.
I'm sure John's on his way. Public Works obviously just ended.
Okay. Rich Ruggiero. Dan Wakeling. Aileen Marsh.
Yep, I'm here.
Yep, Margot, I saw is already here and recording for us. Thank you both. Don Savo.
Here.
Don. George Perham.
Here.
Thanks, George. Lisa Yates.
Hello, I'm here.
Paul Drummy.
Here.
And then Ron Denny. All right. Tim Kleps.
Present.
Jennifer Lynn.
Here.
And then Paul, I believe under names not mentioned in the roll call list, do we have folks from IES with us this evening?
We do. So.
Yes, there's David Moore.
Thank you, David.
And
Okay.
Lecky. Last name is spelled Bialecky.
They're both from IES, Alan.
Okay, excellent. Paul, anybody else that you know of?
This thing is.
Not that I'm aware of, Alan. Anybody here
right.
that hasn't been called?
All right, sounds good. I'll keep us moving along. Again, if you're not speaking, please mute your phones. I am hearing some background noise. So as we're already called to order, I hope it's safe to announce that this will be our last virtual meeting, and that starting in July, moving forward, we will be meeting in person again. All right, entertain a motion under item 2. I entertain a motion of the approval of the regular May 3rd, 2021 minutes.
So moved, Bob Shalou.
Thank you, Bob. Is there a second?
I thought that I have the number. I don't know what's going on. Everything's beeping in my ear. I'm getting messages.
Is there a second on the motion for the minutes?
Second, Bob DiLorenzo.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments, discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Our next item, item 3, is the town council update. Councilman Poisson, anything to report from the town council?
Yeah, at the last town council meeting, we approved the credit for the $248,000 for the reconciliation of the east parcel. We approved the project adventure proposal for $51,000. We approved Antonazzi Amendment credit for closeout reconciliation for $27,000. And the correct amendment number 5 in the amount of $72,000 was stricken from our agenda.
Okay, excellent. Seems like everything's running smoothly between here to BNC to Town Council. So I'll move us.
I'm sure Paul will give us an update on his on the correct amendment, but that's further along tonight.
Exactly. I think we're going to kind of touch on that maybe briefly under new business towards the end. Paul, under item 4, I'll let you bring us through the project financial update.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, everybody. So the adjustments made to the budget since last month, I applied the credit from Turner to owner's contingency. I also added a line item for project adventure elements, $51,120. So scrolling down to date, we are up to $1.364 million in owner's contingency. And while I'm here, so the line item of future solar PV still is carrying $950,000, which I imagine the town will reappropriate that bucket of money to outside the project for its own sole project. Am I correct in saying that, Dawn Sabo?
Sorry, I had to find my unmute button there.
No worries.
Yes, that project is going to come under a separate school construction project, so it will not be necessary to be part of this budget anymore. So
Okay.
I'm assuming it will just go back into the contingency.
Okay. All right. We can work with the town and discuss that offline and make sure that anything else that CREC can do to do the exchange help in any way. Any questions on the budget?
Yeah, Paul, real quick, I just want to throw this out there. In terms of the future solar photovoltaic, regardless of where it goes, I don't want to be too quick in moving that money over to contingency. So I would rather let that 950 sit there until we get further along. And then if the new high school separate solar project gets moving forward, we can then kind of just do like a 1-month transfer and send it over to make sure that it doesn't get lost anywhere in our budget or in anything, other budgetary, related challenges. This way it goes direct from our project to the Stratford High photovoltaic project.
I understand, Chairman. You want the town to know that this committee has minded this budget line item well throughout the project, and this amount of money is there for the town while it's not part of the project anymore. The money is appropriated for solar PV on the high school. So the buckets of money on a higher level, I'm certain, can be switched around. But yes, kudos to this committee for minding those dollars. Any other questions?
All right, if there's no further questions concerning the budget, Paul, thank you for your report. I'm going to bring us along to item 5, which is the presentation of our Turner change orders. Tim, I'll turn it over to you at this point, and we'll move through these.
All right, thank you, Alan. Hello, everybody. First change order we have for today is COR 317. This was tabled at the last meeting, so I think we need a motion if we want to take this off the table, take it up tonight.
Exactly. Is there a motion to take this item off the table?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion to take it off the table.
Thank you. Thank you, Rich Fredette. Is that Bob DiLorenzo on the second?
Ken.
Sorry. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. COR 317 is off the table. Tim, go ahead and do your thing.
Okay, COR 317, as discussed last meeting, this is by request of the music department at the school to be able to have some outdoor concerts outside the civic lobby area. This change order is for the electrical contractor to run the power from the new electric room and where the panels exist out to this area. Also includes some removal of brickwork to be able to make this happen, as well as removal of ceiling tiles and replacement of ceiling tiles. So as you'll see in the write-up here, there is some rework here required. That rework is ineligible, as well as some restrictions by the fire marshal that are listed on the change order. One being administration must warn the fire marshal office in advance of any outdoor event. The double ADA door entrance may not be blocked by any equipment. And number 3, there cannot be any event held in the auditorium or gymnasium while the outdoor stage equipment is in place. Again, I read these, which I typically want, but it was made very clear that we had to make sure those were listed here for the approval by the fire marshal. The total change order value for all of this work that was posted about a half hour ago by Paul, revised numbers for $27,000. 27,000 even, and again, this is to be done on straight time.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Fredette.
As I noted last month that, we have the beautiful scenery and the frontage of our lovely town hall available to the high school at any given time. They have the electrical outlet already out there. At this point here, I find that this is not, something I really think we can afford to spend money on. It just doesn't make sense to me. So with that, I would like to make a motion to deny.
Second, Len Petroselli.
Okay, motion's been made by Mr. Fredette, seconded by Mr. Petroselli. Is there a further discussion on the item?
So Chairman, if I may, being your owner's representative, I think we need some input from Board of Education and administration on this matter. Jack or Bob DiLorenzo, do you have anything to say before?
No, sir, I don't. Well, I'll jump in. I will say that I understand the request by the music department. I do know we have power on the turf athletic field. With a long enough extension cord, could get to the front steps. They held concerts out there this year without this. So in light of the cost, I am okay with the motion.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Delapiano and Mr. DiLorenzo. Are there any other comments, questions, discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll take a vote on the motion to reject. So voting aye is to move forward with the rejection of this item. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion to reject carries unanimously. Tim, COR 320.
Mr. Llewellyn?
Yes.
We already voted on it, correct?
What on the on 317?
317.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Did I miss
Disregard
somebody
it.
in there?
I just wanted to hear from Dawn Sable on it, but if we already voted on it, then disregard.
Okay. Sorry about that.
It's
so
okay.
This brings us to item 320, final bond costs. Tim, take it away.
Okay, change order number 320 is, this is fairly straightforward. This is the reconciliation of the bond cost for 10 of the subcontractors on the project. This is done at the end of the project for the state of Connecticut, and it reconciles their bond rate against the change orders that they had on the project. Again, 10 contractors, and the total value is $10,740.
Is there a motion to approve this item?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for discussion.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fredette. Is there a second?
Second, Len Petroselli.
Okay, we are now open for discussion on the item.
Okay, can we open it up to allow our finance director to weigh in on this?
Absolutely. Don Savo, go ahead.
Thanks, Rich. At this point in time, I have not looked at the reconciliation, so there's nothing I can comment on. I think this is just a standard matter of closing out the bond, correct?
Contractors with a contract value over $100,000 in the state of Connecticut are required to be bonded. I believe it's $100,000. So every subcontractor on the project carries a bond. There are 35 subcontracts on the project, so there will be a bond reconciliation for each and every one of them. And it's all based on change orders. So again, bond rates can vary between 0.8 to 1.2. In the change order, you'll see backup for each one with a consent of surety for some of them. So they're all standard procedure that's done at the conclusion of the project.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, that's fine. This is Dawn.
Thank you, Dawn.
All right, thank you. Mr. Fredette, any other questions on this one?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, anybody else have any questions, comments, discussion on this? So motion been made and seconded. Looking to approve this item in the amount of $10,740. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Brings us to item 6. So it's review of construction plans and schedule. So Tim, bring us through the dashboard.
Okay. As you said with the meetings in the monthly report, this will be our final monthly report on the project. Again, we will give an update from here moving forward through Paul and Craig to give you an update as you resume meetings in the month of July. So starting with this report, which is for the month of May, project accomplishments, again, was completing the site work and receiving the final C of O for the project. Again, big accomplishment that month to be able to turn over the last and final piece after a long, successful project. Landscaping maintenance will continue until the grass and the trees and plantings are established and accepted by the landscape architect. We also have the VRF auto function that was approved several months ago, was implemented on one of the systems. It was tested out. We worked through some bugs on it, but it is ready to be brought out to another system and to continue being pushed out to be able to get to commissioning of the VRF system. And the last item that's listed under accomplishments is that the commissioning is taking place for items such as all the DOAS units, the ACU units, the generator, lighting controls are ongoing, as well as other systems are continuing to be scheduled with the commissioning agent on a weekly basis to get the mechanical components turned over and warranties started on those. Shifting over to section 4, the critical activities and decisions. Basically, we're down to about our top 5 right now, and those top 5 items that we're working through to get the closeout are item number 1 is the VRF system. As I said just a moment ago, the VRF system is operating much better. They did the terminology of it slips me, but it's like a firmware update that was done to the system, which has shown to be positive on the system. We haven't seen deviations like we were before, so things are moving in the right direction. As I said, the auto function was tested out. We found some bugs in it that had to do with some set points, but those have been worked out as well. But our top is the VRF system. The flooring warranty issues that continue, working with the bonding agent again, who stepped in as the surety with the default of Urban Flooring. And then the third is aluminum rails, working through getting that satisfied. We are getting closer on that as well. I think that should be resolved. We should have good news for everybody, at least by the next meeting, on where we are headed with that. The bronze plaque, I think there's an agenda item tonight to talk about that further, but again, to get that on order. And then just general day 2 work. And what we refer to as day 2 work is, again, we did have exterior power on here that we would classify as day 2 work, so that gets removed. But we do have work associated with the beacons that are getting ready to go up, as well as over in the auto shop, some work with the louvers over there that needs to be done, and some miscellaneous day 2 things that we're working through. So those are the top 5 we have today. Outside of that, on the monthly report here on the dashboard, you can see our uncommitted balance with our allowances, our unboughts, and our contingency. Again, in good position at this point in the project, especially with all of the funds that we've returned to date to the town for their use. And, the executive summary and the project challenges will mimic those top 5 that I just went through. And I'll answer any questions that anyone might have on the monthly dashboard.
Thanks for that report. Any questions for Tim before we move on?
Yeah, Tim, not quite sure if this is the place for this question. I know they're still working out things with the field. Maybe this is more a Paul question. I don't know. But has the rec department been able to use that field as of yet, or just the PE?
On a completion basis, the turf field has been issued a substantial completion letter, as well as issued a C of O from the town of Stratford. So that to me would give you formal legal approval to use that field for its intended purpose.
Okay, but has it been turned over to let the rec department use it?
No, it has. No, it has not, Rich. Okay, there you go. No, it has not.
Oh, thanks, Ken. All right. Just checking in because I know they're short on fields.
All right, that's good. Paul, you can add some details to that when we get to item 9.
Sure.
But specific to the dashboard, and any questions for Tim and Turner. All right, move us along to item.
Wait, Mr. Chairman, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Councilman Poisson.
Tim, you mentioned the beacons. What is the status of those right now?
Right now, the status of the beacons, we are working with Antonio and the group over there. I'm not sure, I think you know more than most on this, Ken, based on being there in discussions, but the initial location for the beacon on the west parcel, there is a duct bank, an electrical duct bank that feeds the high voltage power underground from pole to pole. When they excavated down, we couldn't get the footing in. There were some discussions that ensued at that point, and the footing was relocated, clearly without full discussion and disclosure with everybody. So currently we are working with Antonio, working with Paul as well, to be able to get a final location of that beacon. They talked about doing more of a spread type footing on top of that duct bank on the west parcel. And then over on the east parcel, I've had discussions myself with the contractor. I can't even answer why they would move the beacon without direction, but that footing will be relocated, as well as the ponding at that location on the east side. We will be chopping out that concrete and that ramp and fixing that on that side and putting that beacon where it is intended to be located.
So let me just get this straight. And yes, you are correct that I see this every day as I pull into work, and it is pretty much directly underneath my window. So I did see him working, and it did look, it just didn't look right. And I'm glad to hear that everybody knows it's not right. Antonio or Stantec or whoever was in charge of this, they didn't know there was a duct bank under there before they started digging?
I think the thought was that it was deeper than it ended up being. There were some changes with that duct bank when that went in, and those changes were due to the power company. So I don't think that at that point they intended it to be as I'll call it as shallow as it was to the top of the concrete.
All right.
Or
And my next question before Rich asks it is that we're not going to pay for somebody to fix their mistake, are we?
No. I mean, the beacon that was put in the wrong location clearly should not have gone where it went. And that I had the conversation with, as well as the ponding over there at that, on that east side. So that will not be any cost to the town of Stratford to fix.
All right.
Thank you, and thank you, Ken. Beat me to it.
All right. Are there any other questions for Tim before we move along? Okay, so under item 7, we're now at photovoltaic. Rich, is there anything to add? I'm sorry, Paul.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alan. Thank you. So I'm off mute. So photovoltaic, as everybody knows, is being taken out of the project discussed in the budget line item of this agenda. So moving forward, there's really nothing more to talk about. We did not invite CSW to this meeting. We changed the responsibility to CREC, and it's just a brief update to say it is no longer this committee's obligation to mind. Any questions?
All right, so Paul, then it's safe to say the next action that we take related to photovoltaic is simply going to be to take that $950,000 that's been allocated and then park it in whatever project or whatever its next destination is. And then moving forward, there won't even be photovoltaic on the agenda. We'll just bring it up as new business when it's time to make that budget transfer.
So, Chairman, perhaps it's a conversation that I'll have with Dawn and Chris Timniak, and I'll report back to the committee as to what kind of reallocation and the procedure to do so will be. Does that make sense?
Yes,
That
excellent.
makes sense.
All right.
Okay, item 8, next regular meeting scheduled for Tuesday, July 6, 2021 at 5:30. If for some odd reason we have some sort of an anomaly in the next 2 weeks, our special meeting would be June 21st, 2021 if needed. If that is needed, I'm sure that'll be an in-person meeting, and then definitely plan for everybody to be back in town hall meeting in person on Tuesday, July 6th. Item 9, I know we've touched on this a little bit already, but Paul, bring us through the rest of the items of the on-campus athletic field, and then also, as Rich has already asked the question, give kind of a response as to what is preventing the town from being able to use that field for park and rec uses for the summer.
So, as I've been saying for the last several months, Mr. Fredette and to the whole committee is, we've been working toward getting the town positioned to be in a good position to move forward with the field in the direction that the town wants to move forward in. At this point, I can't offer much more than that, but there is. So as of right now, Rich, to answer your question, we cannot allow recreational sports to be on that field.
Okay, thank you. I'm good with that. I'm just wondering because I know
Okay.
they're looking for fields, and
Yep.
I understand that it is still a legal matter.
Okay. So speaking of which, that's a perfect dovetail, Rich. Thank you. So back on while I've been working on the town's behalf and getting them positioned, I have reached out to CREC Council to assist me in doing so. And several times, and the CREC has received a couple bills that I attached to one of our invoices, thinking I could use the bucket of money for legal fees on the budget. So a terrific agent to the town didn't really see it that way. So I'm bringing these 2 invoices before committee tonight for approval. The first one is for, let me see here. It is for $1,358.51. I'm asking the committee to make a motion
You're
to
going to come
approve.
We can vote on them both at the same time?
You can. You want to do both?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking, Paul. Get the second amount
Okay.
out there, and then we'll
All right. Very good.
total them up.
Understood. So the second amount is $313.50, and the first one was $1358.51.
So moved.
Second, Bob DiLorenzo.
All right.
Any comments, discussion concerning this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. That motion carries unanimously with regards to the correct legal invoices.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. That's all I have for athletic field, unless anybody has any other questions.
Guess we're good. On to new business. Item 1, the commemorative plaque update.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. So we had one. I received some lists from the town and the Board of Education, and I took those lists, sent them to the architect, and they kind of put them on a CAD file to kind of organize them as the lists were. We still have some work to do. Alan, myself, and Ken Poison. I think we'll kind of do subcategories to those names and get it positioned in a way that the town wants it positioned. So that's the latest on the plaque. We're moving forward. I think we're a lot further along than we were last month, and I'm optimistic that we can gain headway before the next meeting.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for that, Paul. So our next items, 2 and 3, are individually items that were tabled at our last meeting. So just to kind of follow suit with what we've already established and put in place, I'll entertain a motion to take item 2 under new business off the table.
So moved.
Thank you, Len Petroselli. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. We now have the Antonazzi Amendment number 55 open for discussion. Paul, do you want to kind of lead us in?
Sure. So at the last meeting, the mayor and committee members asked the project team in IES to gather more information and distribute it to the committee for review before this meeting. So there was an email sent to the committee privately about a week and a half ago for them to review. I can say for sure certain that Bob Shalou has reviewed it. This is his email response to me, and they just offered more of an explanation. After review, are there any other questions from the committee in regard to the first the amendment 55, the DOAS?
Go ahead, Mr. Fredette. Question?
No, I'm still left over unmuted from the last one.
All right, so everybody has reviewed the email that Paul sent out. So I'll be looking for a motion to approve this item in its amount of $24,610.
Motion to approve, Bob Shalou.
Thank you, Mr. Shalou. Is there a second? All right, for purposes of bringing this to a vote, I will second the motion that has been made. Is there any questions, comments, discussion concerning this motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Councilman Poisson.
I'll just ask what either Rich or I or D'Lo or some other people always ask is I just want to make sure that we're not paying for someone's mistake or someone's missed work or someone's error or someone's omission or anything.
No, I think in seeing the explanation that's been sent in by email, I think this is, sort of the time put in by the design team for, some of the resolution of the encountered field conditions that were created during the course of the construction. These are just some of the unavoidable things. I don't think there's anything involved in rework here. As IES explained in their email synopsis that they sent out, their actual time spent on both of these items is much greater than what they're charging us for. I don't know, Paul, do you want to add anything from your end with regards to CREC with the oversight that you do on a change order request like this on behalf of the town as our owner's rep?
Chairman, so as I said the first time this came up, and I'll say it again, I think the time spent was considerably more than what would be allotted for this task within the project. I think, again, giving kudos to Rick Bielecki, I think he's been a great agent to us in defending all the way down to even to date, beyond last meeting up to date just last week, defending us on the VRF, going back at the subcontractor and saying, no, the spec says this. And so I recommend approval of both of these amendments because the work has been put in, and the work that they put in helped us move the project forward and get to a position to where the end user is in a good place. So.
All right, thank you, Paul. So one last opportunity. Any questions, comments, discussion on this item before I call for a vote?
Yeah, Alan, I'd like to follow up, please.
Go ahead, Councilman Poisson.
I understand the amount of time they put in. No one's questioning that. Maybe I'm just missing it. Why did they have to spend so much more time than they originally thought? Was it because something was wrong? Designed wrong, installed wrong? I don't know. Am I missing something?
Right.
Maybe Paul could answer, or Tim.
But Rick or David, this is your time to shine.
Hi, good evening. How's everyone? So the associated items from the DOAS unit were above and beyond, our normal reviews for reviewing the associated DOAS unit. This is really, in an effort to ensure that these units are turned over successfully. Based on general items that came up during our review, there was, additional reviews and additional specific items that needed to be evaluated to ensure successful acceptance. And based on that, there was an extended 3-year warranty provided for the unit housing of this piece of equipment.
I would like to just add sort of more globally when we decided to bring these forward. Well, first of all, IES has been a very game consultant. They've always been willing to solve problems throughout this, the last 4 years of this project. But in order to bring these two particular items forward, we looked at the contract first. And it's because it's understood there's a lot of problem solving on the part of the design team while we're doing this work. And that's actually why in the change order section of the contract, there's specific portions like, more than 20 inspections for any portion of the work, more than 2 inspections for final completion of work, evaluating substitutions. And when we looked at this, that's why we felt comfortable bringing this forward to you instead of as a back charge or as tough luck for IES. Which
Lisa, can you hang on a second?
Yep, absolutely.
Can everybody, if you're not speaking, please mute your computer or your phone. There's tons of background noise, and Lisa's very hard to understand through the background. Thank you.
Just following up on that, Ken, if need be, Aileen or Margot, can you mute whatever that caller 4 is that's coming up that seems to be the source of the background noise? Thank you.
I just did mute them.
Okay, thank you, Margot. I appreciate it. Lisa, continue. Sorry for the interruption.
No, that's okay. I was wrapping up. Is there a portion that really wasn't heard that I should be repeating?
Most of it, Lisa.
Okay. So maybe it'll be shorter this time around. So in order, we brought this forward as a kind of a fair's fair look at things. IES has been very game all along the last 4 years, coming forward and troubleshooting. And for the most part, the contract doesn't cover that kind of thing, but we felt that it did for these 2 items, which is why they're here.
All right, Paul, anything to add at this point?
No, Chairman.
All right, excellent. So if we're done with discussion at this point in time, I will call this motion to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. I'll now take a motion to have item 3 under new business taken off the table.
Motion to take off the table, Bob Shalou.
Thank you, Mr. Shalou. Is there a second?
Second, Lynn Petroselli.
I got Danny Sempton there first. All those in favor of the motion to take off the table signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. We now have this item off the table. Paul, again, similar to last item, just kind of lead us in on this one, give us a little bit of a refresher, and we'll see where it goes.
Again, so this was the other amendment that the mayor and committee members asked for further explanation on. This is with the asset neutralization order troubleshooting and quality control. And then as a part of that same email that was distributed to the committee privately, the engineer team sent a further explanation on this matter.
So Paul, again, in taking a look at this and hearing some of the comments that were made in regards to the other item, I believe, again, this is another instance where, the additional time that was put in, what we're seeing actually get charged for, is not all the hours that were spent. I believe there was minimal, if any, rework involved in this. And I know that with regards to the sort of odor problems and then the acid neutralization tanks, there were items that were put where they were allowed by code. And then due to studies of wind direction, items coming through the roof were then relocated and repositioned to alleviate some of the odor issues that were taking place. So again, Paul, if you or Lisa can add anything to what I just put out there or what's in the email, please do so.
I think you summed it up pretty good on my end, Chairman. Lisa?
So the overarching theme is very similar to the last one in terms of why we chose to bring this forward. And this was, if anything, started off as a more of a mystery than the other one. And they were very helpful in helping us get to the bottom of things.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve this item.
Motion to approve, Bob Shalou.
Thank you, Mr. Shalou. There's a second to this motion? Hearing none, I will second this one once again. questions, concerns, discussion concerning this item? I'll
Alan,
call this to, yes,
I'll ask my same question.
which is just concerning read work or whether any of this was avoidable.
Correct.
I almost feel, I mean, I'll let Paul and or Lisa follow up on this. You know, I almost feel that this one is more of, you know, of a clear cut, you know, field condition, you know, things properly done the first time, and just the way they were positioned on the roof, it just didn't work out how the drawing showed it, even though it was allowable by code. And then I believe we changed types or changed the pieces of equipment with the acid neutralizers, in addition to changing the locations to alleviate the odor issues. So, you know, I feel like, to me, this presents more as like a true field condition than the item we just discussed.
Mr. Chairman, Denza. So,
go ahead.
So, was there a mistake made because of the field conditions? And I think that's what the Poisson's getting at. You know, culpability. Who's responsible for, you know, for these? You know, obviously there's conditions with everything that's done at a school. You know, and you know, it just seems like time after time we run against situations that basically falls on our shoulders and nobody else's. There doesn't seem to be any culpability on design as far as the system is concerned. I think we've had issues all along. And I think that's our concern. Will these conditions change over time? That's going to cause some more issues down the road.
I'm going to maybe reach out to Rick and Dave on this a little bit to sort of flesh out. I'm looking at the first line about this, about the tank covers. So there are items in here that were replaced at no cost to the owner, in part because of IES's diligence in chasing this stuff down.
That is correct. It's on the very first item. The very first item is the tank covers. The tank covers, as reviewed and submitted, were not the installed tank covers. They did not have a gasketing material around the top of the tank. And due to the amount of tanks that were installed, there was field quality control and reviews that were done based on the existing tanks to try to make those tanks work and try to work through the existing site conditions.
Right, and this was also more than would be required for your average kind of problem solving back to per the contract.
That is correct.
Right, I don't think, let me jump on what Danny said, because he just jumped on what I said, and I think we're on the same page. Was it designed wrong? Was it installed wrong? There's no question that the IES guys have gone above and beyond. We're not questioning that at all. It's the question of why did they have to go so far and so above and keep fixing stuff for months and years, as Danny said. That's the part that I think people want to understand better.
I think honestly, for this particular problem, because I was around for a lot of it, there were a lot. It's a complicated building. It's a complicated system. There were a lot of moving parts in it, and we wanted to understand why you were having these issues.
Right, so why were we having the issues? Was that ever determined? Was it designed wrong? Was it installed wrong? What was the wrong that these guys had to spend so much time on both of these agenda items?
Again, and I'm glad you guys are still unmuted at IES. I think there is more than one reason. correct?
So if we touch on the other items, the very first item, because the actual smells in the building were actually coupled with a few different related items. The first one had to do with the tank covers at the acid neutralization tanks, such as the covers were not properly gasketed to the tank. And when the covers were not properly gasketed, it did allow, it did permit odors and fumes to escape from the tank. So that is the first item that was discovered.
So I hate to interrupt you. So based on gaskets not being installed properly, who's responsible for that? Is that a manufacturing issue? Is that an installation issue?
It was both, and they corrected it at no cost to the owner. This is design time chasing it all down.
But again, I think what Danny and I are saying is that these guys spent 3 years worth of time on and off on these two agenda items, fixing something that was either designed wrong or installed wrong.
So why aren't we going after the installation? Why aren't they going after them instead of going after us on this and saying, hey, listen, you guys need to pay us because of the work that we did here? Why isn't anybody going back to the installers or the manufacturers saying, hey, listen, we understand the fact that you're not charging us for this, but we're getting charged based on what they basically came up with as far as resolution to the problem. So they were the fixers to the problem, but now because they fixed the problem, they're putting it on our shoulders instead of the installers or the manufacturer.
So there are some cases where that's going to be the case if IES wants to recover lost time. But for these two items, it's based on our read of the contract.
Okay, explain that read of the contract.
Sure. So let's back up. So the contract.
I don't think Danny or I or anybody understands how we are responsible for someone's mistake. This is basically what it's coming down to. It's either designed wrong or installed wrong. And they keep coming to us, and not just them, but everybody seems to always come back to us to fix someone's mistake.
Understood. So the area of the contract we zoomed in on was the change order area, specifically 4.3.3, which talks about we shall provide construction phase services exceeding the limits set forth as additional services, and when the limits below are reached, we shall notify the owner. And if it went beyond that, I think before you were notified, but Paul and I have been working on this for a while. It's multiple reviews of multiple shop drawings. Again, this one I think really falls under excessive inspections for any portion of the work, because these are specific portions of the work. And then this is the last one is more than 2 inspections for any portion of the work to determine final completion. And actually on this one from the previous section, because there were issues with what was provided, it falls under evaluation of substitutions.
I don't think anybody's questioning that. Can someone answer me straightly, please? Was it designed wrong or installed wrong, or both?
So I think this one is back to IES.
Well, it was not designed wrong. So it's just the way the trap primers.
So it's a few different issues. So the first issue was related to the tank covers, as we touched on. The second issue was related to the trap primers that needed to be evaluated. That based on an evaluation that was done in the summertime, there were trap primers that were not operating accordingly. They were installed accordingly, but they were not operating accordingly. Vents on the roof, the plumbing vents on the roof was the last item. These vents on the roof were all installed in accordance with code criteria. They were all installed in accordance with the Connecticut High Performance Building Standards. Based on winds at the roof, there were some unfortunate circumstances where certain plumbing vents had to be relocated further distance from the indoor air intake from the units.
Yeah,
So
that last one, I think that there was not an issue with the design and there was not an issue with the installation. There are, as we discovered, unusual wind patterns on the roof that.
and these were really just unforeseen field conditions.
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman, this is Bob DiLorenzo. I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Bob.
Lisa, between Ken and Danny, and they bring up valid points.
Mhm.
At what point in time, we all make mistakes, we all have human error, that stuff happens. But when does the burden become off of the town and the community, and more focused on you
I would start on that 10 times we told IES no, they couldn't bring anything to the committee. I think part of the issue here is you guys only hear about things when you need to, and when we take care of things, you're less likely to hear about it.
But while that's a valid point, there seems to be a lot of change orders that are coming the other way, not as a credit. So there are some that come in at credits, and that's great. But what if there are mistakes that are being done and had? Why does the burden continue to fall on the town?
So these are not change orders. These are amendments to our design contract.
Okay.
Based on work performed above and beyond what was planned or agreed to. And in fact, I think
doesn't add up to me.
This work prevented change orders from coming in front of you for the work installed.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Fredette.
I think we beat this horse to death tonight. Can I make a motion to table this so we can get better, maybe everybody can go back to the drawing board, come back with different answers, better answers to the rest of the committee's, questions. So I'd like to make a motion to table this.
Okay, before asking for a second, all I can say is that to get more clear analysis on this, Paul, what I'm going to have you do is sort of break this item out into its sub pieces. Obviously, there was an issue with tank covers and gasketing. Then there was actual handling and changing of the odor neutralizing tanks themselves. I believe there was a chip change or a change in the type of chips that were in there. Then there was the wind analysis and the roof relocations. So instead of trying to tackle this as a whole, like tangled ball of rubber bands, let's get this untangled a little bit so we can look at some isolated pieces. And, if the gaskets were done wrong and in exchange for the gaskets being done wrong, that's where we had the contractor come in and contribute with the alternate tanks or the new tanks that we weren't charged for.
And what's wrong? It's like stomach issues.
If you're not I don't know who Chris Palmer is, but please mute yourself. You understand what I'm talking about, Paul?
And Mr. Chairman,
for that.
Along with that, seeing I think we're really in a very uncomfortable position here. I'd like to reconsider the last vote also on that last item. The more I'm listening here, the more I'm very uncomfortable with everything being just.
Yeah, Rich, that's a good point, but let's finish the vote on tabling this one first,
Yes.
this vote, and then we could maybe do that.
Yes.
Okay, so I need a second on the motion to table this item.
Dan Seft, I'll second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. This motion to table carries Carries unanimously. And now I guess in follow-up, there's going to be a motion to reconsider on the prior vote for item 2.
Correct. I will make that motion.
All right, hold on, just let me catch up here for a sec. Okay, is there a second on the motion to reconsider? All right, thank you, Mr. Semp. All those in favor of reconsidering the prior vote for item 2 under new business signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. So we are now reconsidering the prior vote. Go ahead, Mr. Fredette.
I'd like to make a motion to table that subject.
Is there a second on the motion to table?
Second, Bob DiLorenzo.
By Mr. DiLorenzo. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. So item 2 and 3 at this point are now tabled. I will. If you're all in agreement with where I was sort of going with that item 3, I'll kind of follow up with Paul, and we'll get items 2 and 3 addressed in that same manner. Are there any other new business items for this evening?
So, Chairman,
Yes, Paul, go ahead.
give the committee. Okay. All right, here we go. To give a committee an understanding of the path moving forward as it relates to the project team and in these meetings. So moving forward, the CREC will be giving the committee an update, monthly update, about a week and a half before the committee meetings. And based on that update, we'll receive any questions the committee has, and we'll answer those questions for the committee meetings moving forward. So the project team, we're at a point in the project now where the project team doesn't really need to be attending these meetings. I think the information can be distributed via email and answered via email and or a phone call to CREC and be the facilitator of the information.
All right, understood, Paul. Councilman Poisson, did you have anything you wanted to say or add?
I think what Paul just said was okay. If there's problems or somebody has questions or something needs clarification, that can happen in the week leading up to the meeting. In between, by the time the project team sends out their packets a week before the meeting, questions and answers can be sent back and forth leading up to the meeting.
All right, excellent. That's my understanding. My understanding as well. And so yeah, as we lead into that, looks like Paul already has a couple of homework items he'll be taking care of before our next meeting. Paul, are you set?
I think I'm all set, Chairman. Thank you.
All right, under item 11, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn unless there's any other new business to be brought forward.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Fredette. Second.
Second, Bob DiLorenzo.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Chair votes aye, and we are off the clock at 6:39 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the Building Needs Committee meeting of June 8th, 2021 to order at 6:40 p.m. My name is Ken Poisson, Chairman of the Building Needs Committee. I'm also the 6th District Councilman. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. I'll take a motion to approve our May 3rd minutes.
So moved, Sam.
there a second?
Second, Bob DiLorenzo.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is ongoing business. 3A is Board of Ed buildings. A1 is the Stratford High School Renovations Subcommittee. That meeting just ended. I believe all of us were just on that call. I'll turn it over to Alan Llewellyn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you said, we just met for Stratford High School. The project is moving down to its end stages, even dropping back, taking care of some rework. Turner reported tonight that progress is being made with the VRF system, which is kind of core to the HVAC system. So some of the system updates we've been doing are enhancing auto functions and set points. That sort of trial system will now get added to other systems to get the rest of the VRF in ceiling cassette units taken care of. Turner reported site work is now complete on phase 3A. Existing stair restoration has been completed. And the other kind of big news is that the high school project has received the final certificate of occupancy from the town of Stratford. So the building is fully in use at this point, and everything's looking good for moving forward. We're hoping to get some items buttoned up over the summer, and just kind of move forward with the end of what's there. There was a piece of change order activity that happened. Turner has started reconciling the final bond costs for the subcontractors in conjunction with the change order and closeout activity that's happening on the job. So 10 subcontractors have had their final bond costs reconciled, and I would move that we accept change order request number 320 for final bond costs as outlined in the COR. I would move that we accept that in the amount of $10,740.
Is there a second?
Dan Senft, I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Anything else, Alan?
Yep, last two kind of quick pieces of business under the photovoltaic for the high school, just so that it's widely known and everybody's aware. That work will not be taking place as part of the high school project. It will be taking place as part of a separate project. And we're moving forward with CAD files and draft mock-ups of the commemorative plaque for the entire project. So it's a little bit of a daunting task as we're looking at, two mayors and close to 10 years of public officials. And then there were some other amendment items from our prior meeting in May that continue to be tabled, and we're going to be working with CREC in terms of getting those resolved and finalized. Paul, is there anything else that we need to kind of take care of under the high school report?
So the two attorney bills?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got those written here on the back. So as part of the ongoing discussions for the on-campus athletic field, CREC has sought some internal legal resources to help and provide guidance with us. And the subcommittee approved two invoices, one in the amount of $1,358.51, and the other in the amount of $313.50. And I would move that the Building Needs Committee accept these costs on behalf of the high school project.
Dan Senft, I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Anything else?
All right, No, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report for this evening. As usual, thank you and thank the other members of the Building Needs Committee who were able to get on early for the Stratford High School meeting and help to keep this meeting moving forward. So thank you, and everyone have a happy and safe 4th of July.
All right, and thank you, Alan, for all the work you've done on the Stratford High project. Okay, item A2 is open work orders under Board of Ed. I don't know if Rich Ruggerio's on. I know Renee is sitting in for Danny tonight. The open work orders have been emailed to us ahead of time as always to help streamline the meeting. Does anybody have any questions for Rich or Renee on the Board of Ed open work orders?
Yeah, Ken, Mr. Chairman, I do. This is Bob DiLorenzo.
Yes, Bob.
Hey, Rich, Mr. Ruggerio, were you made aware of about 2 weeks ago at Eli Whitney, the challenge with the brick with the Be Kind symbol? I just want to make sure. I didn't get a chance to look at the list, which I apologize, but you're an approachable guy, so I figure I'd ask if you heard.
Elo, I don't know if Rich is on the call tonight or if maybe.
He is not.
Okay.
He is not.
Renee, do you know anything about that, or is Rich going to have to get back to Bob?
Rich is going to have to get back. I'm not aware of any issue.
Okay. Thank you. I'll get in contact with him.
Okay. Any other questions on BOE open work orders? All right, item 3B is general buildings, the town open work orders and building repairs. That list has also been emailed out to us ahead of time to help streamline the meeting. Does anybody have any questions for Renee about town open work orders or building repairs? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Item B2 is Booth Park. Renee, is there any updates on activity at Booth Park?
We've been busy working at the Booth Park, making a ton of repairs that the Booth Park Committee has put forth. We are currently putting together, we got a proposal for the stained glass in the clock tower. We are now providing the paperwork to the mayor's office because they are a specialty and sole source vendor, so it won't go out to bid, but that's kind of where we're at. But we've kind of caught up on all the repairs that they've requested.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Renee?
No, Renee, just one thing. I spoke to Dan at the last meeting, and down below by, I believe it's, I don't know if it's number 2 or number 3, the shelter we have down there. There's some old picnic tables that aren't picnic tables anymore. They're just pieces of concrete that are just, standing there, and it seems to be a little bit of a hazard. So I know Danny was talking about putting some more picnic tables down there, some of the newer ones that we have for people to utilize. So,
Okay.
All right, that was it.
I'll double check on that and make sure it's still on the radar.
Yeah, some of those old, concrete slabs with the wood tables on top are just completely rotted out and falling apart. So they're just unsightly more so than anything.
Okay.
All right, Danny, Richard, Danny had also mentioned, Danny had mentioned also about replacing those and also the fire pits too, correct?
Correct, yeah. The fire pits are disarray.
Gotcha.
And one other thing too, Renee, I don't know, there's a ton of people that walk their dogs up there. Is there been any consideration about putting in those, for their feces, those feces bags,
There has not been, we kind of get mixed feelings about putting those in because when people don't use them and they just throw it in there and our guys have to empty them, they kind of like don't want to touch it.
you know, the sanitation guys or the parks guys who empty the trash. It's like they don't really want to reach in and deal with somebody disposing of stuff without putting it in a bag. So we've kind of always gone back and forth on whether we wanted to start doing that or not. And we never kind of weighed on one side or the other because it kind of always comes out even. There's enough pros and then there's the same amount of cons.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I just hate stepping in it.
Yeah, you know, and we kind of are hoping they use the, you know, the dog park or people know to pick up after the dogs because we tried signage, you know, we put signage that, you know, to please pick up after your dog in an effort to hopefully curb that, but not everybody's diligent.
Yeah, that's all I had. Thank you, Renee.
All right, thank you, Renee. We'll move on to item 4, the new business, the CSW, the project manuals, for the solar voltaic projects at Chapel, Worcester, Second Hill Lane, Bunnell, and Stratford Academy, Johnson House. Aileen emailed out those to us ahead of time. And Renee, we need a motion to approve these, correct? That was sent out. I believe, Alan, you have that for us?
Yeah, exactly. Does this need to be done in 2 pieces, or can I read them both together and we can handle them at once?
Robert, you want to answer that? Can we combine them?
I don't see why you can't.
Robert or Chris, if we just combine it, right? And we just approve this and send it to the town council?
Yes, I believe that would be fine.
All right, so Alan, you just want to read through it all?
Yep, gotcha. So, as proposed, the Building Needs Committee of the Stratford Town Council hereby approves the following. Item A is a motion. This is the approval of the final project manual as prepared for bidding and dated March 19th, 2021, and the associated professional cost estimate for the State Office of School Construction Grants and review of project numbers 138-0107-PR/PV, 138-108RR/PV, 138-0109RR/PV, 138-0110PV, and 138-0111PV for rooftop solar photovoltaic projects at Chapel Street Elementary School, Worcester Middle School, Second Hill Lane Elementary School, Bunnell High School, and Stratford Academy, Johnson House. This motion authorizes the chair of the Building Needs Committee of the Stratford Town Council to sign State Form SCG-042- Request for Review of Final Plans for each of these 5 state offices school construction grants and review rooftop solar photovoltaic projects at Chapel Street Elementary School, Worcester Middle School, Second Hill Lane Elementary School, Bunnell High School, and Stratford Academy, Johnson House. And item B, that it be further resolved that the Building Needs Committee of the Stratford Town Council formally approves and sends to Town Council with favorable recommendation the final plans and project manual for rooftop solar photovoltaic projects at Chapel Street Elementary School, Worcester Middle School, Second Hill Lane Elementary School, Bunnell High School, and Stratford Academy, Johnson House as prepared for bidding and dated March 19th, 2021, and the associated professional cost estimate for State Office of School Construction Grants and Review for project numbers 138-0107-RRPV, 138-108RR/PV, 138-0109RR/PV, 138-0110PV, and 138-0111PV.
Okay, is there a second?
Dan Seft, I'll second it. I have some questions.
Okay, is there any discussion? Go ahead, Dan.
Sure. Just wondering specifically with Whitney as well as Chapel, whether or not the panels will be installed on the shingle roof or the flat roofs. And if they are going to be applied to the shingle roofs, we've got to make sure that it's not going to void any manufacturer's warranties to have those installed.
So,
do you want to handle that?
Sure. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Seth, for that question. My colleague, Chris Palmer, is also on the line as well, and who is more adept at the technical requirements. So, Chris, do you have a...
Yeah. Dan, happy to answer that question. So for Chapel Street, our layout, we were able to stay completely off of the shingled roof. So we're able to avoid that entirely. But I just also want to address too that we'll, even on the flat roof, we'll be working with the roof manufacturer who holds that warranty to make sure they're aware that the array is going on there, and they'll issue us what's called an overburden waiver that basically states, you know, we're aware of the array, it's been installed per our specifications, and the roof warranty is in full force and effect.
Okay. What about for Whitney?
Whitney is not on our list. We're looking at Chapel, Worcester, Second Hill, Bunnell, and Stratford Academy.
I got you. Okay. The reason why I bring that up is because our shingles are on that roof at Chapel.
Gotcha.
That's why I bring it up.
Is there any other questions, discussions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Robert and Chris, I just have one question. Being the town council person here, I recall doing something like this at the town council level already. Did we skip a step? That was just authorize the money. Did we send that to the state? Is that what we did before?
Yes, so that was, you're correct, Chairman. That was authorizing the bonds to pay for it, though this is school construction grant, so you get a 60% reimbursement on all the money that's being paid here. This is just within our, in order to go to bid, we need your signature, Mr. Chairman, for the Office of School Construction on that form 042. That's kind of our last step before going out to bid, hopefully in the next few weeks.
Right, and I've signed those for all the other schools in town also. So my question is, we don't need to send this to the town council then, do we?
I don't believe you do.
Aileen, does that sound correct to you? Because I don't think the town council needs to get involved. It's just the Building Needs Chairman's Committee, and we've already okayed the projects and sent the grant and everything.
Okay. I would double check with Margot.
Yeah, so we'll double check. We'll just, Alan,
are you okay?
Alan, if you could just, if you don't mind, just rewording it, saying that town council part, that if necessary, send to the town council with a favorable recommendation.
Absolutely. I apologize for that. I was kind of just going for coverage, making sure that we didn't have to kind of do something.
No problem. No, it wasn't your mistake. I think we were all trying to get ahead of ourselves. But if Margot says it doesn't need to be, it's one less thing that we can put on a town council agenda if it doesn't need to be there. All right, Robert and Chris, is there anything else you need?
Chairman, I'll just chime in quick here. It'll eventually come to town council after the bid is awarded. It'll go through the contract approval from your committee with a favorable recommendation for the mayor to sign going up to council. So you're going to end up seeing this at some point.
Right. Oh, I knew that. I didn't know if this, right. I knew that part, Renee. I didn't know if this step had to go to the town council. And I just don't believe this step does. This is just to get my signature.
I agree. I don't believe it does either.
Okay. All right. We'll just double check with Margot. And if it's not needed, it just won't get sent there. All right. Aileen, just fill me in here. Did we finish the vote?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Robert or Chris, is there anything else?
Nope.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Okay, Renee, you can give us an update on the Bunnell High School floor change order?
Okay, so the gist of this is pretty much the entire lower level of Bunnell High School. It is found that there is a high salinity level, and causing, when the salinity level is high, it comes up through the floor. So what this change order is a process to be able to scrape it down, and put a process on top of that and a barrier on top of that, which will then put the flooring down and be able to maintain the warranty. If we don't do this, the warranty on the floor will be voided.
Okay, is it for every single room on the first floor that they did?
Pretty much. So, we stopped doing it when we found a couple rooms after we did some testing, and we found a couple rooms that were, that had the high salinity level. What we did is we tested a different process, but the problem with that different process is it doesn't come with a warranty on the floor. So while we tested the process and the floor held up, you lose the warranty. And now we're checking with the state because we don't want to lose reimbursement because we don't have a warranted floor. So that's why we only tested like 1 or 2 rooms to see how it would hold up.
Is this a tile floor, Renee, or is this a carpet tile floor? What is it?
It's not carpet, it's like a laminate type of flooring.
And what's happening? Is it effervescing and?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
So that's what had happened, with the old flooring. And when we pulled off the old flooring, we kind of saw this white staining kind of thing. And we then had it tested and found that the salinity level is extremely high.
That's from the cement.
Yeah. So this process will grind it down and then kind of build a process on top of that and then put a barrier in between that and the flooring to maintain the warranty.
Danny, these are the same old floors that we stepped on many years ago at Bunnell High School.
I remember those days.
All right, so I'll take a motion to approve Barol and Conover Floors Incorporated change order number 1.
I approved the desalinization of the floors at Bunnell High School.
And send to town council with favorable recommendation.
And to town council, as Elaine just graciously put out there.
Is there a second?
I will second the fully made motion.
All right, is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
I do have one question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Rich.
Is that what happened to both you guys? Those floors up at Bunnell?
Too much salt. You're right.
No, actually it was, we both went to flood it that had no windows. And we were in the first classes up there. So we're still in the experiment stage.
Correct.
Long as you guys can explain it, that's all.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I thought we said that already.
Yeah, I was just checking. Rich, I have to give Rich a reason to ask all these questions. Any opposed? All right. Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, Renee, the Baldwin Center, change order.
Okay, so the pendant lights in the dance hall, so a lot of them are not working and we can no longer get the parts for them to get them working. So this is the cost of retrofitting them with pieces that we can get.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve.
With a favorable recommendation from?
And sent to the town council with a favorable recommendation. Dan, was that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Bob DiLorenzo.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. And change order number 2 for the Baldwin Center, Renee.
This is one of my favorites. This is to get rid of the lovely orange color on the walls in the elevator. You're gonna have a nice new pretty facility, and when you open up the elevator, that orange kind of just screams at you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Any discussion on the orange color going away?
Do we know what the new color is going to be?
The 70s orange.
What is the new color going to be? Is it going to be chartreuse or burgundy?
Polka dots.
We're out of the mauve and burgundy phase. We're in the grays.
Okay.
Hey, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Renee. Any other new business?
No, but I just wanted to say, I believe Mr. Fredette has spent some time on that dance floor at the Baldwin Center, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he picked out that orange color.
That's it.
I'm not quite sure if I'm going to spend more time on there or I have.
All right, the next item agenda is item 5. Our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, July 6th. Tuesday, July 6th. And a special meeting, if needed, for Stratford High would be on June 21st. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Bob DiLorenzo.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned at 7:07. Thank you very much, as always, everybody.
Take care, everyone.